Hello everyone, welcome once again to my YouTube channel. In the last video, we saw how to get sample data sets which you can use to sharpen your data analysis skills. We also saw how to delete unnecessary columns, that is columns we don't need in our analysis. In today's video, we'll be looking at how to delete duplicate rows. And in deleting the duplicate rows, we'll be deleting it based on the rating count column, that is the total number of rating per app. Now, among the duplicate apps, there is the one with the highest rating compared to the other. So we'll be retaining the app with the highest rating.
Now, we are in the Clean Apple Store file or module. In this file or this function, we can see the functions that are in it. Now look at the function that was called the dup-except. Now I told you this function deletes duplicates, removes non-English app, and separates free from non-free. So now let's look at it. So the first function under this function is unique rate max. This unique rate max is found in the highest duplicate module. Unique rate max is found in the highest duplicate module. That is why we imported highest duplicate module. Then the next function under this dup-except is the separating English from non-English app, and that is it here, non-English, and it can be found in the file or module non-English app. So we imported non-English app. And the final one is free from non-free. You see, we imported the file or the module free app. And this is the function here, price separate, which is found in the free app module. That is what these functions are doing. And they are all under the dup-except. So we can see the first function is removing the duplicate apps. You can see just a line of code. So we have to go into the original function that does this, removing the duplicate app. Now, we are in the highest duplicate module or file. These are the functions under it. The first function is remove duplicates. The second function is duplicate apps. The third function is duplicate max rate. And the fourth function is unique rate max. Now let's look at what each function does. Remove duplicates. You can see from the comments here, delete duplicate apps from table. Now what this function does is, from that original table, it removes all duplicates and leaving only one of the duplicates. Now let me explain myself. Let me use Bible, that is KJV Bible, as an example. We have the Bible KJV duplicated twice. It can be thrice. Now let's say it's duplicated twice. Now this remove duplicate will remove one of the Bible and leave one. So what is going to be contained in this remove duplicate function, that is the result after executing, is a table with only unique values. So if Bible is duplicated, we are going to have one Bible there. All the extras will be taken away. That is what this function does. So the function that actually does the removing duplicates is drop duplicates. So it says df.drop duplicate, so it drops it, and we are specifying the column that we should use to drop the duplicate, and that is the track name column. And we return the final table, df unique. Look at it. So this df drop duplicate, once it finishes executing, it saves it in this variable df unique. So this variable df unique contains the new table. So that is what we are returning. So anytime you call this function remove duplicate, it will have the new table df unique in it. Now the next table says delete apps, that is get total list of duplicated apps. Now going back to the example Bible, that is the one that is duplicated in the table. So we say Bible was duplicated twice. let's say Super Mario game was duplicated twice. This duplicate apps table, what it's going to do is when it finish executing, the table that it will present is a table that will contain 2 Bibles, 2 Super Mario apps. That is what this function will present as the final result. So now this df dot duplicated, what it does is it checks the table. Any app that is duplicated twice, it puts true in front of it, and the ones that don't have duplicate, it puts false. So it returns a boolean. Boolean is true or false. Then we put that result. Don't forget, we're specifying it based on the track name column. That result now is put in back into the df. You can see all this one are in a bracket. Now the result of that boolean, true or false, is put back into the table, and the result is brought out as the individual names of that function. So the result of the table now will now be the names of the apps that were duplicated and their details. But if we run only df.duplicated, you are going to the result, you'll be seeing the table that we printed out will be true or false table. So for us to extract the original table with the details we want, we now put it back into the data frame so that we can get the names and the details necessary. So that is what this one does. Then the next column function is duplicate max rate. It says select only the duplicate apps with max rating. Now, the df that will be passed into this function, duplicate max rate, is the result from this. You can see it here. df is equal to duplicate apps df. What does that mean? It means the df that will be used to run this code is the result you get from the duplicate apps function. Duplicate apps function, look at it. Duplicate apps. Look at the name here. Duplicate underscore apps. df. We call it with the variable. This is it here. So this df that is passed into this function is the original table, which will be passed back into this function, duplicate apps. So once you see this duplicate apps, the code will now go back to duplicate apps, execute duplicate apps, then bring the result and put it in this variable df. So this variable df will now be the table that contains all the duplicated apps as I have explained earlier. So this table now is what will now be used to extract the maximum rating. So take note, we have Super Mario app duplicated, we have Bible app duplicated. Now take note, the reason why they were duplicated is because the second entry, it has higher rating. So they updated it by just imputing it there. So the second entry has a higher rating. The same thing with the Super Mario app. The second entry has a higher rating. So for us to increase the integrity of the result of our analysis, that is why we are doing this. So we want to retain only the duplicate app with the highest rating. So we'll pick only the one with the highest rating. That is what this function is doing. So it takes that table and puts it here. That is the df. This df is the result from the duplicate apps function, which is this. So it puts it here and it iterates through it. Now this is a for loop and it is iterating using iter tuples. Don't forget, in one of our lessons, I told us that using iter tuple is the best when iterating through a data frame. We have the option of using iter rules and we have the option of using just ordinary for loop. Those ones are slower compared to iter tuples is faster. So before we explain what the for loop does, let's look at how a for loop works. Now, before we proceed on explaining what that function does, we want to see how a for loop works. Now, this is a simple illustration of how a for loop works. In this container, we have 4 dots, and then we have an empty container here. So how a for loop works is to say for x. Now, what is the x? All these things are represented by x. So for x in range 0, 1, 4, now why are we using this range? We are saying the first value here, the position or the number is 0. And we want you to be going through them one by one, one by one. That is what this 1 stands for. 0 says starts from the first value that entered the container. 1 says be taking them one after the other. And 4 means stop at the end. Why is it 4? Because we have 4 values here. So it's going to start counting 0, 1, 2, 3. It stops at 3. So it says we should take from the first value 0. We'll be going one by one, 1, 2, 3. So that is how the range works. So it says for x, for each item in this container, you take it. So you take the x, you take the first value, which will now be saved in the variable x, and you take it and move and come and put it in this container. Once you've dropped it in this container, you go back again, take the next one, move, and come and drop it here. So the x represents each item in the container. Each one you pick is x. Then it drops it. Once it drops it, that variable x becomes empty. It goes back again, pick another item. That item is now inside x, which x will now come and drop it. So x is just like a vehicle that is carrying the items in this container and moving them to come and put in this red container. Now, let's look at how the for loop works. So it says app name should be the track name. So anytime you see the variable app name, it is the track name of this data frame or this table. And anytime you see app rating, it is referring to the rating count column. That is the rating count column of the table. So now we have a dictionary declared here. And take note, in dictionaries, how it appears is the key. This is usually called the key and the value. So this is how what we are going to put in this dictionary will appear. So now we say, if app name in unique max dupe and unique max dupe app name less than app name, then we replace. Now, for you to understand this if statement, let's start with the elif first. It says else if app name, that is, it picks the first role now and it checks the app name that is in that role. If that app name is not in this dictionary already, what you should do is put that app name, Bible, and put the app rating that you found there equals to the app rating that you found. That is the app rating that is on that rule. Let's be put into the dictionary. So that is the first value is now in the dictionary. So we're using Bible as an example now. Now we have Bible and the app rating, the rating count in the dictionary as the first value inside. So now it comes to this if statement and asks, if app name in unique max, now is Bible already in the dictionary? Yes. And unique max dupe, the app name, take note, the meaning of this is the rating count. The meaning of this is referring to the rating count of the Bible. So this unique max dupe app name, don't forget the app name we're referring to now is Bible. So it says the rating count, if the rating count that is already in the dictionary for Bible is less than the current app rating now that we're looking, we're iterating through, we're going row by row. Now we have seen the first Bible, we've already put it in the dictionary. We are still iterating, looking, checking. Now we have seen another Bible which was duplicated. Now we are checking the app rating that is in the dictionary. Is it less than the app rating of this next Bible we've seen? If yes, then what should happen here is replace this app rating, which is this, replace it with the new app rating of this second Bible we found. That is what this is doing. So this elif will now execute if there's no Bible at all inside. So if we're going to now look at the second one now, let's say Super Mario game. Now we already have Bible in the dictionary, but no Super Mario game. So that means this if statement will not execute. It will execute this else if first and put the Super Mario game. Then this if statement will not execute if we now encounter the second Super Mario game in the data frame in the table. That is when it will now replace the app rating of the second entry. So the final result is unique max dupe, which is a dictionary that is there. So it's going to have a dictionary containing Bible and the rating, Super Mario and its rating, like that, as many as possible that there is. So when we are through with that, then the final function is going to now do the replacing. It's going to replace the rate count in the unique apps table with the maximum rating. So what we are going to do here now, we are going to take this first table. This first table, remove duplicate table, contains all unique values. So we have only one Bible in it. We have only one Super Mario game in it. But the rating count was not taken into consideration when leaving it in the table. So now we want to replace it. Now take note, this dictionary contains only the maximum rating of the duplicated app. So we have one Bible with the maximum rating. We have one Super Mario with the maximum rating. That is what is contained in this unique max dupe dictionary. And this unique max dupe dictionary is found in this function called duplicate max. So anytime you call this function called duplicate max, you are automatically calling this dictionary that contains all the unique value. That is what we are doing here. Now we can see table 1 duplicate max rate. So we are calling that function which has the dictionary, and remove duplicate. That is the first function containing the unique table. Now don't forget what I said. I said this Bible is the key and this is the value. So now we are dealing with the key here in this unique rate max. So now what we want to do in this function is to replace the rating count of the duplicate apps with the maximum rating. So we say for key in table 1, don't forget table 1 is this, that is the dictionary. Table 1 dot keys, we are specifying that is the keys we are referring to. So now what we are doing now, we are going to locate the row with the app name equal to the name in the dictionary. What is that place trying to do now? Let me explain better. So we look for the row name in table 2. Don't forget table 2 is the original table without duplicates. We'll now use the loc function. LOC, loc, is what locates cells, columns, rows in a data frame. So we are telling the loc function that we are looking at the track name column. That is where we should go and look into. Now we're checking the track name column. We are checking it. Is the name that we are at the same as the key? Don't forget we have a dictionary containing Bible and its rating, maximum rating, Super Mario and its maximum rating. So it will be looping through it will pick the first value, the first key in the dictionary, and come to check the whole table to find the key. So we pick the first key. The first key is Bible. So we come to check the table 2, which is the table with unique values. We look for Bible. Once we locate Bible, that is the track name equal to Bible, which is the key, we'll now say that we'll now replace it. This is the function that does the replacing. So we are using this one to locate it. So we found the row that has the name Bible. So now we come here. We now say that table 2, which is the unique table, go and locate that row. You know, this row name, this is it here. This is the variable here. This variable contains this whole function that located the row with the name Bible. That is what this row name stands for. This is it here and this is it here. So now it has been located. So what are we supposed to do now? It says go and locate the rating count column for that row. Once you locate the rating count column, now replace it. Replace it with this. That is table 1 key means this value here. This. Don't forget this is key and this is value. And once you put the name, like this example I gave, Bible, into the name, it gives you the value. That is what that place is doing. So it says table 1 key. What is the key we are looking at now? We've picked Bible. That is the first key we decided to pick. So once you put table 1 Bible, the meaning of this means take the rating count and replace it with the rating count of the Bible that we have located in the unique table. So once we finish all this, we return the final table, and this final table will now be an updated table with only the maximum rating.
In the next video, we'll look at how to delete non-English apps using ASCII code. We'll also separate the free apps from the non-free apps.